Now in the center ring, Tennessee Congressman Steve Cohen. Congressman, you have long advocated for a constitutional amendment to address the pardon issue. Why is that, and what do you hope to achieve?
Well, going back a long time, St. Far, I was in a constitutional convention, which was a body to change parts of our Constitution of Tennessee in 1977. And at the time, our governor, Ray Blanton, became notorious for selling pardons and letting out murderers and friends of his children who were murderers. And I proposed a pardon power then that would say no pardon would be effective unless approved by a majority of the Supreme Court, who would review them all. It didn't gain enough traction to pass, but it's an indication of how far back the pardon abuses have been, and they go back many years. And we saw it with there was a pardon toward the end of the Clinton presidency. Some of them were wealthy people, but they pale in comparison to what we've had today with Trump and the pardoning of this crypto fella, and then all the insurrectionists in one fell swoop on day one. And then Biden did a lot of pardons that were kind of concerned about what Trump might do, and he pardoned all the members of his family and some of the people involved in some other committees. But I proposed a pardon power amendment to the Constitution, which is a constitutional power that would say a president couldn't pardon a member of his own family, a member of his campaign staff, a member of his administration. And we defined how those were. It's kind of hard to define what they'd be, and that they not appoint a pardon any person for a corrupt purpose, which gives some leeway for the courts to look into what was done. Now, I proposed it the first time during Trump's first term, I think it was, and people said, "Oh, this is aimed at Trump, et cetera." But I proposed it during Biden's term as well, and I had a few Republicans say that they support it, but then never got to a vote. And here we are now. We've introduced it again. But I think it was good for the goose, good for the gander, and it really is a corrupt thing. The Supreme Court, when they said that the president could act in his official capacity with immunity, really licensed bribery in the pardon power, because pardoning people is one of the president's powers in his professional official capacity. He is immune from any prosecution now because of what the Supreme Court said, which I think was a way out decision from nowhere. But that gave him this power. He can do anything he wants. Now, it used to be a stink about it, and it was wrong, and I don't think people accepted money. They did political favors. Now I think they're being sold, and it's legal for him to do it because the Supreme Court said he can't be in any court of law to question his actions in an official action now.
Yeah, it seems perfectly logical what you're trying to do, and that is get it back to what the original framers wanted to do. So tell us, what kind of reaction are you getting from your colleagues, and what hope, is there any hope on the horizon you might be able to achieve this goal?
Well, I doubt it, because right now the House pretty much operates for, by, and about Trump. And while I'm on the Judiciary Committee still, I don't think the Judiciary Committee will schedule the bill for a hearing because it would bring up discussions about Trump's pardons, and it would limit Trump's pardon power. And he likes the pardon power. He pardoned George Santos. George Santos' whole career was antithetical to what the American people expect of a representative: honesty, and at least who their grandparents were, who their mother was, and all those other kind of things. And he's pardoned a lot of financial fraud, which means people don't get restitution when they're pardoned. So it hurts individuals who've been damaged once. They get damaged a second time with the pardon. I don't think it'll be scheduled for a vote. That's unfortunate. And if the Democrats come back into power, the Democrats might not want it to come up, but in the first term or so, first year or two of a Democratic president, they might, because the president doesn't normally issue pardons till the end of the term. And I don't think the Democrats would be thinking about that at all. And maybe the president wouldn't either. Yeah,
it seems like most of the modern era presidents have used and maybe even arguably abused the pardon power, and to different degrees, but it's still there. So it sounds like what you're saying is, if the right time happens, you still have hope for this?
Well, the right time would have to be somebody other than Trump. It could be a different Republican president, and maybe the Republicans would go along with it. Trump has just a very unique and powerful hold on his party. I don't think anybody else would be president, if a Republican or a Democrat, would have that same kind of hold, and maybe they would act independently and act on behalf of what's good for the people and to reform this abuse.
So have you had the opportunity to try and get co-sponsors of this bill? Yep.
Well, I think I had Chris Roy and when Trump, when Biden was president, but when Trump was became president, I haven't had any Republican support at all.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a tough road to hoe going forward, but it is something I presume you're going to keep pushing as long as you're in Congress.
Yes, I am. I think that it's just awful abuse, and it needs to be cured. And the only way to cure it really is through the amendment process. The amendment process is difficult, but if it gets through Congress, it can possibly pass because the people would want it. They want there's against these pardons that are questionable and corrupt as anything else in government, I think.
Congressman Steve Cohen, we really appreciate your time, and we hope that you're ultimately successful on this. It sounds like it's important for the American people. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John. Good to see you, and you were an outstanding representative, and I'm honored to see you today, and that's the reason I'm on this show.
All right. Thanks so much, my friend.